Welcome back to the channel Valuable Coins HD. Have you ever held a coin in your hand that seemed completely ordinary, yet somehow felt like it was hiding a secret waiting to be uncovered? Imagine this, a simple nickel from 1964, a coin billions of Americans once carried without a second thought, now emerging as one of the most misunderstood, most searched, and most surprisingly valuable coins collectors are desperately hunting for today. What if a Jefferson Nickels sitting quietly in your pocket right now was actually worth hundreds, or even thousands of dollars? Let's dive deep and reveal the truth behind the mysterious 1964 Jefferson Nickel, one of the most intriguing coins in American history. The year 1964 sits at a crossroads in U.S. coinage history, marked by massive national change and a shift in minting practices that would permanently affect the entire coin collecting world. As the United States faced an extreme coin shortage, the Mint launched an unprecedented surge in production, striking over 2.8 billion Jefferson Nickels that year, instantly making 1964 the single highest mintage year for the series. But what most people don't know is that despite these enormous numbers, rare varieties, minting anomalies, and overlooked errors have transformed these nickels from common pocket change to high-value collectibles, with strong demand in today's numismatic market. To understand the importance of the 1964 issue, we need to explore its design and symbolism, starting with the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, sculpted by the talented Felix Schlag in 1938. His right-facing profile, surrounded by the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," remains one of the longest-running portrait designs in U.S. coinage history. On the reverse, the iconic Monticello stands as a symbol of Jefferson's lifelong influence, paired with E pluribus unum and the denomination 5 cents. But what makes the 1964 issue stand out is not the design itself, but the dramatic minting circumstances that shaped it. During this intense production year, both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint were operating at full, relentless speed, producing enormous quantities to combat the national coin shortage of the early 1960s. The Denver Mint used the D mint mark position to the right of Monticello, a small but critical detail that would later become essential for collectors searching for rarities and high-grade examples. With workers under pressure, machinery running non-stop, and dies rapidly wearing down, the stage was set for major varieties and striking anomalies that are now highly sought after by experienced collectors today. One of the most important features collectors examine in 1964 Jefferson Nickels is the quality of the strike and the condition of the steps on Monticello, known as the full steps designation. Full steps, or FS, refers to a sharply struck reverse with clearly defined, uninterrupted steps on the central staircase of Jefferson's home. Because the Mint was rushing production, deeply detailed strikes were uncommon, making 1964 Jefferson Nickels with full, unbroken steps extremely rare and highly valuable. A 1964 D with true full steps is considered one of the key sleepers of the entire series, often commanding four-figure prices in high mint state grades, but full steps aren't the only hidden treasures collectors chase. The 1964 Jefferson Nickel is filled with dramatic mint errors, including off-center strikes, broad strikes, double die obverse varieties, triple doubles, die cracks, cut breaks, clipped planchets, and even rare transitional style striking irregularities caused by the minting chaos of that year. Some of these errors are extremely scarce because the Mint's goal was quantity, not quality, and quality control simply could not keep up with the non-stop production pressure. This is why serious collectors inspect every detail: the date, mint mark, rim, portrait details, lettering thickness, and the steps, searching for valuable diagnostic clues. Another fascinating part of the 1964 nickel story involves the shell case alloy used in earlier years. Although the special wartime alloy officially ended in 1945, the Mint's unusual metal sourcing practices during the early 60s created subtle composition inconsistencies and texture variations in some strikes. These subtle variations, often identified by specialist numismatists under magnification, add yet another layer of intrigue for collectors analyzing these coins today. Now let's look at what truly drives collector demand: the scarcity of high-grade 1964 and 1964 D Jefferson Nickels. Because the vast majority entered circulation immediately, most surviving examples are worn, dinged, scratched, or dull, making mint state examples extremely hard to find. Grading agencies like PCGS and NGC rarely award MS66 or MS67 grades for this year, and a full steps designation elevates the rarity even further. This combination of high mintage but extremely low high-grade survival is exactly why the 1964 issue is considered a modern sleeper coin. As collectors dig deeper, they quickly learn that the 1964 D mint mark is the most important variety to search for in high grades and with full steps. Denver quality was inconsistent that year, making sharply struck coins incredibly rare. Meanwhile, Philadelphia produced enormous quantities as well, but with a similar lack of precision in strike quality, which means top-grade examples from either mint are shockingly scarce compared to their billions coin population. That contrast is exactly what fuels excitement in the numismatic community. Now it's time for what every collector waits for, the real highest verified market prices these nickels have sold for at auction. A 1964 D Jefferson nickel with full steps in an astounding grade of MS67 sold for more than $15,000 at auction. Another full steps example in MS66 plus reached over $10,000, while several high-grade non-FS varieties still push into the $1,000 range. Even circulated coins with dramatic mint errors, such as 20 to 40% off-center strikes, double dies, or major cuds, regularly sell for hundreds of dollars depending on severity, eye appeal, and rarity. These prices prove that even a coin once considered too common to collect can transform into a highly valuable numismatic treasure. So before you spend that old nickel from your drawer, your coin jar, or your pocket, take a closer look at that 1964 date, check for the D mint mark, examine every detail of Monticello, and search for those sharp, crisp full steps that could change everything. Hidden treasure doesn't always come in gold or silver. Sometimes it hides in a simple 5-cent piece minted during one of the most chaotic years in American minting history, and your next great discovery could be waiting just inches from your fingertips. Have you ever wondered if the most ordinary-looking coin in your pocket could be hiding a secret no one ever told you about? What if a simple 1979 Jefferson nickel, a coin millions of Americans spent every single day, actually holds unexpected rarity, hidden value, and mysterious varieties collectors are hunting for right now? What if the next big discovery in U.S. coin collecting isn't a gold piece or silver dollar, but a 5-cent coin minted in a year almost no one pays attention to? Today, we uncover the untold truth behind the 1979 Jefferson nickel and explore the hidden details that could turn a simple piece of pocket change into a valuable treasure. The year 1979 marked a pivotal moment in U.S. minting history, coinciding with America's transition toward modern coinage technology and the growing popularity of precision minting machinery. Although Jefferson nickels had been produced for over 4 decades by this point, the 1979 issue reflects a unique blend of aging design, evolving minting methods, and rising collector interest that still makes this year worth examining under expert-level scrutiny. Despite the perception of being a common date, sharp specialists know that several overlooked factors make the 1979 nickel far more interesting than most collectors realize. The classic Jefferson nickel design created by Felix Schlag in 1938 remained unchanged during this era, showcasing the right-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, with inscriptions carefully arranged around his profile. The reverse features Jefferson's historic home, Monticello, framed with E pluribus unum, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. But what makes the 1979 issue particularly fascinating is how dramatically strike quality and minting consistency varied between mints that year, creating collectible varieties that specialists continue to hunt for today. The Philadelphia Mint produced 463 million nickels in 1979, while the Denver Mint struck nearly 400 million more, each marked with the bold D mint mark to the right of Monticello. But even with these massive mintages, the quality differences between P and D strikes created a hidden tier system of rarity inside the 1979 issue. Philadelphia nickels were known for slightly weaker strikes that often lacked definition in the steps of Monticello, while Denver produced sharper but less consistent results overall. This inconsistency is exactly why certain high-grade examples, especially full steps varieties, are extremely challenging to find. Collectors pay close attention to the full steps designation, one of the most important strike characteristics in Jefferson nickel collecting. A coin receives full step status only if the steps of Monticello are clean, uninterrupted, and fully defined from left to right, requiring a crisp and powerful strike that very few 1979 Nickels achieved. Because of die fatigue, inconsistent press pressure, and the mint's emphasis on quantity over perfection, true full steps examples from 1979, especially in high mint state grades, are dramatically rarer than the average collector realizes, but rarity doesn't end with full steps. The 1979 Jefferson nickel also contains several fascinating mint errors and die varieties created during production. These include double die obverse varieties, reverse doubling affecting the lettering around Monticello, die cracks, rim breaks, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and off-center strikes that range from subtle misalignments to dramatic, visually striking minting mistakes. These errors often slipped through unnoticed in 1979 because quality control was not as strict as it is today, leaving collectors decades later with a treasure hunt of extraordinary finds. One of the most intriguing details of the 1979 series is the transition in die preparation, as the U.S. Mint continued refining its hubbing methods during the late 1970s. This shift occasionally produced subtle design variations, including differences in the strength of Jefferson's portrait, the sharpness of Monticello, and the thickness of certain letters on both the obverse and reverse. Skilled collectors use magnification to identify these microvariations, some of which are now recognized as collectible subvarieties in specialized Jefferson nickel references. High-grade survival is another major challenge for the 1979 Jefferson nickel. Most coins from this year circulated heavily throughout the 1980s and 1990s, a period when nearly no one saved nickels from pocket change unless they were silver or wartime issues. As a result, clean, mark-free examples in MS-66 or MS-67 condition are extremely rare, and coins with full steps are even scarcer. This scarcity becomes even more dramatic when considering how easily the nickel's metal composition picks up scratches, abrasions, and bag marks during mint handling. Collectors who examine these coins today know that striking quality from the Denver Mint can sometimes create surprisingly sharp examples, but the Philadelphia Mint occasionally produced exceptionally well-struck pieces too, though these are notably harder to locate. The challenge of finding a perfect 1979 nickel with strong details, flawless surfaces, and unbroken steps makes this year especially attractive to specialists in the Jefferson nickel series. Now let's reveal the real, verified highest values the 1979 Jefferson nickel has achieved at auction, and this may surprise you. A 1979 D Jefferson nickel with full steps in an exceptional grade of MS-66 sold for over $3,000, illustrating just how valuable a top-tier example can be. Another 1979 P in high grade but without full steps has reached above $1,000, and several dramatic mint errors, including major off-center strikes and broad-struck pieces, have sold for hundreds depending on condition and severity. These results prove that even a late 1970s nickel can deliver stunning value when found in the right condition, so the next time you look through your pocket change, your coin jar, or your old childhood collections, don't overlook the 1979 Jefferson nickel. Take a moment to study the mint mark, check for full steps, inspect the fields under bright light, and look for die cracks, doubling, or striking anomalies. What appears to be an ordinary coin could actually be a rare and valuable piece of American minting history, and your next major discovery might be sitting right in your hands, waiting for the right collector to recognize its hidden worth. Have you ever held a coin so ordinary, so familiar, that you never imagined it could be hiding a secret capable of shocking even the most experienced collectors? What if a Jefferson nickel dated 1971, a coin millions of Americans spent without a second look, holds hidden varieties, rare mint errors, and sharply graded survivors worth far more than anyone expects today? What if the coin sitting quietly in your pocket or coin jar right now is one of the rarest sleepers in the entire nickel series, waiting for the right set of eyes to unlock its true value? Today, we uncover the mysterious and often overlooked world of the 1971 Jefferson nickel. The year 1971 stands at a turning point in America's modern coinage era, falling between the nation's transition out of silver coinage and the introduction of more advanced minting technology later in the decade. Although the Jefferson nickel design had already been in circulation for more than 3 decades, the early 1970s created a perfect environment for striking inconsistencies, transitional die fatigue, and fascinating minting anomalies that now make coins from this era surprisingly valuable and high grade. Collectors often assume that early 1970s nickels are common, but specialists know that the 1971 issue is filled with hidden challenges and collectible surprises. The obverse of the 1971 Jefferson nickel features the familiar right-facing profile of Thomas Jefferson, sculpted by Felix Schlag, whose design has remained an enduring symbol of American numismatic tradition. Surrounding Jefferson are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," along with the date placed clearly to the right. On the reverse, Monticello stands proudly at center, framed by E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, and the denomination, 5 cents, but strike quality in 1971 varied so significantly that the sharpness and clarity of Monticello differ dramatically from coin to coin. The Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 106 million nickels in 1971, while the Denver Mint produced an even larger 316 million coins, each marked with the well-known D Mint mark positioned to the right of Monticello. Despite these high mintages, both mints struggled with die wear and inconsistent strike pressure that year, resulting in millions of coins with soft details, weak steps, and flat devices. Because so few sharply struck examples were saved at the time, high-grade 1971 and 1971 D Jefferson nickels are dramatically scarcer today than their mintage numbers imply. Collectors place enormous importance on strike quality, especially when it comes to the full steps designation, one of the most coveted attributes in the entire Jefferson nickel series. Full steps coins show clean, complete, unbroken steps on Monticello's staircase, a detail that requires a strong, precise strike that the mint often failed to achieve in 1971. As a result, full steps examples from this year are extremely rare, and truly premium specimens in MS66 or MS67 grades are considered high-demand trophies for serious collectors. But the excitement doesn't end with full steps rarity. The 1971 Jefferson nickel series contains a wide range of valuable mint errors and die varieties that specialists continue tracking today. These include double die obverse varieties showing notching or doubling on the date and lettering, reverse doubling affecting the word Monticello, dramatic off-center strikes, broad strikes without a retaining collar, clipped planchets, die cracks, rim breaks, and even retained cuds across both mints. Many of these errors escaped quality control due to the massive pressure placed on the mint to maintain production speed during the early 70s, creating an entire class of collectible varieties with strong market demand. Another fascinating aspect of the 1971 nickel is the transition in die preparation and sharpening techniques used during this era. Specialists note that some dies from 1971 show deeper lines in Jefferson's hair, stronger detail in the cheekbone and jaw, and more pronounced architectural details on Monticello, while others appear soft and mushy due to aging dies that were pushed far beyond their intended lifespan. These subtle variations create multiple collectible, micro-varieties, especially prized by advanced Jefferson nickel enthusiasts. Despite billions of nickels being produced during the late 1960s and early 1970s, extremely few 1971 nickels survived in clean, untouched, high-grade condition. Nickel metal is soft and easily damaged, and most 1971 coins entered circulation immediately, where they picked up scratches, marks, and wear long before collectors began saving modern examples. This is why high-grade coins, especially those with full steps, command impressive premiums today and remain exceptionally challenging to locate in original rolls or mint sets. Experienced collectors also note that the Denver Mint in 1971 produced some of the most inconsistent strikes of the decade. While the Denver Mint typically delivered sharper strikes than Philadelphia, the 1971 D issue often shows flat, mushy steps on Monticello, weak lettering, and poorly defined obverse details. This makes any sharply struck 1971 D coin, especially one showing full steps, a true rarity that stands out in auction catalogs and price guides with impressive premiums. Now it's time for what every serious collector waits for, the verified highest auction results for 1971 Jefferson nickels, and these numbers may surprise you. A 1971 D. Jefferson nickel with full steps in an extremely rare MS-66 grade sold for more than $6,000, making it one of the most valuable non-silver nickels of its era. Even a 1971 P in high mint state grades, without full steps, has reached into the several $100 range, while dramatic mint errors, such as 30 to 60% off-center strikes, broad strikes, and large retained cuds, regularly sell for hundreds depending on condition and rarity. These prices prove that even a coin from the early 1970s, often dismissed as common, can produce astonishing value in the right grade and variety. So before you toss aside that old nickel from your pocket, your loose change drawer, or your childhood collection, take a moment to examine the date 1971 closely, check for the D mint mark, inspect the steps of Monticello, and search for doubling, cracks, or striking anomalies that could transform this ordinary 5-cent coin into a valuable numismatic treasure. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned collector, the 1971 Jefferson nickel is a thrilling reminder that some of the most exciting discoveries in U.S. coin collecting can be hiding in the simplest places, waiting for the right collector to uncover their hidden value. Have you ever wondered if a simple coin, one you've seen thousands of times, could be hiding a secret so valuable that it changes everything you thought you knew about modern U.S. change? What if a Jefferson nickel dated 1972, a coin millions of Americans carried in pockets, purses, and ashtrays, contains rare strike varieties, mint errors, and high-grade survivors worth far more than anyone expects today? What if the next major treasure in your collection is not silver, not gold, but a seemingly ordinary nickel minted in 1972, waiting for the right person to recognize its hidden potential? Today, we uncover the untold truth behind the 1972 Jefferson nickel, a year packed with surprising challenges, stunning rarities, and collector demand that continues to rise. The year 1972 marked a fascinating moment in America's numismatic landscape, positioned in the early years of the country's full transition into modern clad coinage. Though Jefferson nickels contained no silver by this time, the U.S. Mint was still adapting to evolving die-making technology, new minting machinery, and shifting production demands, creating unique conditions that affected strike quality and design clarity. These changes led to a wide range of collectible differences in the 1972 issue, making this date far more interesting to serious collectors than a casual observer might ever suspect. The obverse carries the classic portrait of Thomas Jefferson created by Felix Schlag, but 1972 nickels often show noticeably varying levels of detail in Jefferson's hair, jawline, and cheekbone, depending on die health and striking pressure. On the reverse, Monticello sits at the center of the design, surrounded by inscriptions that collectors know well, yet the sharpness of the steps and the architectural lines differ greatly among coins struck this year. Many examples suffer from flatness, die erosion, and incomplete details, making sharply struck coins especially desirable and considerably rare in higher mint state grades. The mintage numbers for 1972 are deceptively large. The Philadelphia Mint produced 273 million nickels, while the Denver Mint struck an even greater 351 million coins, each marked by the D Mint mark placed neatly to the right of Monticello. However, these massive mintages do not guarantee abundance in high condition, because both mints faced notable challenges with aging dies, uneven strike force, and heavy circulation use shortly after striking. As a result, the 1972 and 1972 D. Jefferson nickels are significantly tougher to locate today in pristine, problem-free mint state grades. One of the most coveted characteristics of any Jefferson nickel is the full steps designation, awarded only to coins where the steps of Monticello are fully struck, uninterrupted, and sharp from end to end. In 1972, obtaining full steps was exceptionally difficult due to widespread die fatigue and insufficient striking pressure across both mints. Many coins display mushy steps, poorly defined lines, and incomplete architectural detail, making full steps examples incredibly rare and highly prized by both registry set competitors and advanced series collectors. Beyond strike rarity, the 1972 Jefferson nickel is known for an abundance of mint errors and die varieties that keep collectors constantly searching. These include double die obverse varieties with doubling on the date or lettering, reverse doubling affecting the Monticello design, dramatic off-center strikes, broad strikes with expanded planchets, clipped planchets missing metal sections, die cracks running across Jefferson's portrait, rim breaks, and retained cuds forming raised lumps on the coin surface. Many of these errors have sold for impressive premiums, and they remain some of the most exciting discoveries in 1970s nickel collecting. Another intriguing detail lies in the mint's die preparation practices in the early 1970s, a period marked by experimentation with hubbing strength and die polishing techniques. Some 1972 dies were polished excessively, softening design details and reducing the sharpness of Jefferson's features, while others were underpolished, leaving raised lines and flow marks visible across both sides of the coin. These subtle differences create multiple collectible microvarieties that specialists continue to catalog and pursue with enthusiasm. High-grade survival is especially challenging for the 1972 nickel due to the coin's metal composition and circulation pattern. Nickels are inherently more prone to contact marks, abrasions, and surface scuffs because of their hardness, and the majority of 1972 nickels entered circulation immediately after striking, where they endured extensive wear long before collectors began saving modern-date Jeffersons. This makes MS-66 and MS-67 examples extremely rare, and coins that combine these grades with full steps designations are among the most elusive modern Jefferson nickels ever minted. Collectors who study the 1972 D issue in particular know that Denver mint strikes can be wildly inconsistent. While Denver is typically celebrated for sharper strikes overall, 1972 D coins often suffer from flat steps, weak lettering, and incomplete device details due to die overuse and production strain. This inconsistency means that any sharply struck 1972 D example, especially one showing full steps, represents a remarkable find and commands considerable attention in auctions and registry set competitions. Now it's time for the part every collector waits for, the verified highest auction and market results for the 1972 Jefferson nickel, and the numbers may surprise you. A 1972 D Jefferson nickel with full steps in a rare MS-66 grade sold for over $3,000, making it one of the most valuable non-silver nickels struck in the early 1970s. Even the Philadelphia issue, when found in MS-66 or higher, can command several $100s, and dramatic mint errors, including major off-center strikes, double die varieties, and broad-struck specimens, have sold for anywhere from $150 to over $1,000 depending on severity and grade. These impressive values prove that even a nickel from the early 1970s, often dismissed as common, can deliver surprise profits when found in the right condition. So the next time you sift through pocket change, search an old coin jar, or open a forgotten bank-wrapped roll, take a close look at the date 1972 and examine the mint mark, the steps of Monticello, the sharpness of Jefferson's portrait, and any unusual lines, cracks, or doubling that might signal a valuable treasure. The 1972 Jefferson nickel serves as a powerful reminder that hidden rarities still exist in everyday American coinage, and your next major discovery, the kind that transforms a simple 5-cent piece into a prized collector gem, may be waiting right in the palm of your hand. Imagine holding a coin so ordinary, so familiar, that you never thought it could be valuable, until the moment you realize it hides secrets worth thousands of dollars. The 1974 Jefferson nickel may look like everyday change, but behind its modest surface lies a fascinating history of minting anomalies, subtle design details, and collector demand that continues to grow today. What if the nickel sitting quietly in your pocket or coin jar is a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered? Today, we explore the remarkable story of the 1974 Jefferson nickel, a coin that combines American history, modern minting challenges, and rare collector opportunities all in one small, 5-cent piece. The year 1974 marked a dynamic period in U.S. coinage, situated in the heart of the modern clad era, when the Jefferson nickel had already been a circulating coin for more than 3 decades. While the design remained largely unchanged, production practices were evolving, and the mint faced ongoing challenges with die wear, strike pressure, and consistency between mints. These production variables created fascinating varieties and rare high-grade survivors that expert collectors now hunt for with great enthusiasm, turning a seemingly common coin into a sought-after collectible. The obverse features the familiar right-facing profile of Thomas Jefferson, sculpted by Felix Schlag, whose design has endured since 1938 and remains a cornerstone of American numismatics. Surrounding Jefferson are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," paired with the 1974 date positioned to the right. On the reverse, Monticello sits at the center, framed by "E Pluribus Unum, United States of America," and 5 cents. What makes 1974 coins special is the subtle variation in strike detail. Some coins exhibit crisp, sharp features while others appear soft or slightly weak due to die wear and production pressure, a factor that can dramatically affect collector value. In 1974, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 233 million nickels, while the Denver Mint struck over 291 million, each carrying the iconic D Mint mark to the right of Monticello. Despite these high mintages, high-grade examples are surprisingly scarce, because most coins quickly entered circulation and endured heavy wear. The contrast between mints is also notable. Philadelphia coins tend to show slightly softer details, while Denver strikes often display sharper but inconsistent results, giving collectors a challenge when seeking the finest specimens. One of the most prized features among Jefferson nickel enthusiasts is the full steps designation, awarded only to coins where the steps of Monticello are fully struck, unbroken, and sharply defined from top to bottom. In 1974, obtaining full steps was particularly difficult due to widespread die fatigue and the mint's emphasis on speed over perfection. Coins with this feature, especially in MS-65 or higher, are considered rare treasures for advanced collectors and registry set competitors, making them stand out in the market and commanding premium attention. But the excitement doesn't stop with full steps. 1974 Jefferson Nickels are also known for a wide array of mint errors and die varieties. Collectors actively search for off-center strikes, broad strikes, double die obverse and reverse varieties, die cracks, clipped planchets, cut errors, and even doubling in the lettering around Monticello. Many of these errors were overlooked in 1974 because the mint prioritized quantity over meticulous quality control, leaving modern collectors with an ongoing treasure hunt filled with opportunities for significant discovery. Another fascinating aspect of the 1974 nickel is the subtle differences caused by the mint's die preparation and hubbing process. Some dies were polished heavily, softening Jefferson's features and Monticello's details, while others retained sharper lines and stronger architectural relief. These small variations create collectible microvarieties that are highly prized by specialists who can spot the differences under magnification, adding yet another layer of intrigue to the 1974 series. High-grade survival is a key factor for collector demand. Most 1974 nickels circulated heavily throughout the late 1970s and 1980s, picking up scratches, marks, and abrasions, which makes mint-state examples extremely rare. Coins graded MS-65 and above are considered premium finds, while MS-66 or higher with full steps are exceptionally scarce and highly sought after. This combination of high mintage but low survival in top condition is exactly what drives collector excitement and market premiums for the 1974 issue. Collectors often focus on the Denver Mint 1974 D strikes, as Denver's production that year produced some of the sharpest examples, but even these can be inconsistent due to die wear and press pressure. Meanwhile, Philadelphia coins can be overlooked, yet top-grade examples with strong details and full steps can also command significant value. The challenge of locating these coins adds to their allure and positions them as prime targets for serious collectors who understand the nuances of Jefferson Nickels series collecting. Now it's time for the moment every collector loves, the verified highest auction and market prices for 1974 Jefferson Nickels. A 1974 D Jefferson nickel with full steps in MS-66 sold for over $3,000 at auction, proving its rarity and desirability. Even high-grade Philadelphia coins in MS-65 can fetch several $100s, while dramatic mint errors, such as significant off-center strikes, broad strikes, and major cuds, regularly sell from $150 to over $1,000 depending on condition and severity. These results show that even a nickel from the mid-1970s can surprise collectors with extraordinary value when the right features are present. So next time you sort through pocket change, search an old coin jar, or open a forgotten bank roll, take a close look at that 1974 date, check for the D Mint mark, inspect the Monticello steps, and examine the details of Jefferson's portrait. A coin that seems ordinary may actually be hiding full steps, mint errors, or pristine mint state quality that could make it one of the most valuable modern Jefferson nickels in circulation. The 1974 Jefferson nickel is a perfect reminder that some of the most exciting discoveries in U.S. coin collecting are hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right collector to uncover their hidden worth.